J Adore, Kofifi FM 97.2. Welcome to it. This is the KYC. 97.2 Kofifi FM. It's where it all began. Good afternoon to you, Kofifi Lander. Hope that you are enjoying your day wheresoever you are. Thank you so much to Mama Rosemary, who has come in at 1 to the hour of 2 o'clock, where she handed over the baton to us. And we're taking this to the hour of 3 o'clock. We want to welcome you, everybody at home who is enjoying Kofifi FM 97.2. Thank you so much. The name is Elias Lobakeng, and alongside me is the beautiful Shalane.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. How are you?
I'm excited. I'm good. I'm grand. I'm everything that has to do with beautiful.
That's good. Good to hear. Good to hear.
Today we're about to have another blast of a show. We call it Young Minds in Entrepreneurship, whereby each and every Thursday we inspire young people to go out there and start businesses. Take your idea, make it a reality, and live the life that you always dream of.
Absolutely. And I'm excited what we're to be talking about our topic today. At the end of last week, we actually got in a lot of messages asking about funding. So we're going to jump in today and hopefully spend the next 2 weeks maybe about funding, depending on how much interaction we get from you all out there. So please continue to send us messages and ask us questions.
And where can you send those messages? 071 425 9577. 071 425 9577. It is the SMS and WhatsApp line whereby you can interact with us, and we will be the conduit that will send those messages forward for you. We're talking finance today. And just to break it a little bit, Shalane, you can give actually the heads up of what it is.
Cool. So this week, I want to just give an overview of what the finance ecosystem looks like. So who are the different players providing finance in South Africa? And yeah, just some overview, because I think people use finance and they think it's a one direction, when actually part of successfully getting finance is actually knowing exactly who to approach. And in order to do that, we must know what types of available funding is available and who are the finance providers that are giving out money.
All right, okay. Young millionaires, we're talking financing today. Hope that you will stay tuned in. 17 minutes after the hour of 2 o'clock. When we come back on the other side of some couple of songs and ads, we will be starting off talking about finance, aka
It's just me and Dhaka Cairo. Live fast, never die slow. I got a special button for the nitro. I'm getting money like the wife. Oh. 10 fingers on the Bible. Please don't put me on Snapchat. I'm throwing phones off balcony. If I don't reach for your handshake, is that fuck with your self-esteem? Jacob bumps my gas tank. Part of me is so hard to breathe with no space to jump on my bandwagon. My credit card is like black magic. Yeah, bad habit. She gon' kick it like New Balance. Rock and roll, I'm rolling stone.
Only pay attention to the final product of a successful entrepreneur. They say things like, I can never be like them, or they got lucky. What most don't see is what they've overcome. All the struggles, the daily rejections, the heartaches, the betrayals, the rumors, the criticism, the empty bank account, and all those lonely nights while trying to make their vision a reality. You see, the only difference between the one who quits and the one who doesn't is that they showed up every day. They worked hard every day. They hustled every day. They learned from a proven mentor every day. They improved every day. They did all this even though they felt like quitting every day. And eventually, they became who they are today.
And the question is, what are you today? What do you see for yourself tomorrow? Kofifi FM 97.2, welcome back at it. It is 24 minutes after the hour of 2 o'clock. This is the KYC 97.2 Kofifi FM, waar alles begin het. In studio with me, I'm with Shalane.
Hello.
We're talking business, young minds in entrepreneurship, and the name is Elias. We'll be with you for a couple of minutes up until 3 o'clock. Now, we're talking finance today. And specifically funding, because we had a whole lot of people, listeners actually writing in and asking when are we dealing with finance and funding.
Absolutely.
So we deem it appropriate that we, take your instructions and do so. Shalane, I'm going to give over to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So funding is definitely a huge challenge. It's one of the most cited questions, I think, by entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And it's probably because it can get very confusing. So I think one of the things that I wanted to break down a little bit is what the ecosystem looks like, or what the funding environment options are in South Africa. So there's a study, it was a survey that was done by, they're called ANDI, stands for Aspen Network Development Entrepreneurs, and it's a global network, and there's a chapter in South Africa. So they did this study in 2015, and they actually say that there's 71 71 different direct finance institutions in South Africa. 71. So there's a lot of options out there. But if you were to say you're looking for funding, and if someone says, what type of funding are you looking for, would you be able to answer that question?
No.
Okay.
I would just say I want paper.
You want money, exactly.
Want meaning.
But you know, in terms of being strategic, you have to understand what types of funding is available.
Yeah.
So I think there's different categories. So we know one of them is debt finance, which is also called a loan. So that's provided by banks, and commercial banks typically would provide a loan.
All right.
There's another type called equity, which if anyone has ever seen the show Dragon's Den.
Yes.
Okay, so you go into Dragon's Den and you pitch your business, and then they give you offers or investment offers in exchange for ownership of your company.
Yeah.
So I would say, you know, I'm willing to invest R1 million for 20% equity. So that's what equity funding is.
Okay.
And then the last one is a grant. So that's money with no strings, but sometimes there'll be very strict requirements to say this money has to benefit women and children, for example.
Okay.
So, you know, we talk about nonprofits or different types of entrepreneurs on the show.
Yeah.
And normally a nonprofit would go and get grant funding. Okay. So there's also two other types of funding. One of them is crowdfunding. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of crowdfunding.
No, I haven't.
Okay, so it's kind of modern, and I guess millennials probably would know about crowdfunding.
Okay.
But there's a website in South Africa called Thunderclap. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. Okay, but have you ever heard of Kickstarter in the US? Okay, so it's the same concept of Kickstarter, where if I put a business online, people from around the world can actually give me small sums of money. And I was looking at stats from Thunderclap this morning, and they said that they've actually raised 10 million rand from people in South Africa to fund almost 200 projects in South Africa. So it is one option. It's a very modern option, but I would put my business on Thunderclap, and people from around the world could give me small sums of money, anywhere from $100 to up to however much you want to invest in. So that's also another option.
Now, those people then that, you know, give you the money, some who do it, you know, without wanting anything.
Yeah.
But for those that want something back, how then do we deal with those?
So the way that Thunderclap and Kickstarter work is most times you'll get a reward. So it's kind of like a gift basis. So say if you know, we're talking about, we'll get into the different stages of business, but say if I had a prototype where I want to manufacture, and that's why I'm asking for money.
All right.
For those that give me $500 and over, for example, I would be one of the first ones to get that product.
Oh, okay.
So there's they call it rewards, but there's different ways or creative ways that you can incentivize people to give you small sums of money. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So crowdfunding works amongst us. It's mostly, I think, younger kids who probably use crowdfunding, but it is a credible source of money. Yeah.
97.2 Kofifi FM, it's where it all began. When we come back, I want us to deal and touch a little bit on people that qualify for funding.
Yes.
And how do you qualify for funding?
Okay.
Because there's a notion that goes out that, you know, if I have an idea,
absolutely,
and I believe that this idea, you know, can change the world, of which you might not be wrong.
Yeah.
But then how do you make your idea to such a point that when I am an investor, I can buy into it with no doubt?
Yeah. So we'll kind of talk about what those funding criteria is, and that's all part of understanding your business and the position that you're in, and are you actually ready for funding? Because you might not be ready for funding. So we'll talk about that.
Kofifi FM 97.2 is where it all began, talking about young minds in entrepreneurship. This is the KYC. The name is Elias, and alongside me is Shalane.
Final product of a successful entrepreneur. They say things like, I can never be like them, or they got lucky. What most don't see is what they've overcome. All the struggles, the daily rejections, the heartaches, the betrayals, the rumors, the criticism, the empty bank account, and all those lonely nights while trying to make their vision a reality. You see, the only difference between the one who quits and the one who doesn't is that they showed up every day. They worked hard every day. They hustled every day. They learned from a proven mentor every day. They improved every day. They did all this even though they felt like quitting every day. And eventually, they became who they are today.
Greetings to all citizens of Gauteng. I am Dombi Mekwe, the Speaker of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. On Monday, the 20th of February 2017, I will preside over the official opening of the fourth session of the 5th Legislature, where in terms of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa and Rule 14 of the Standing Orders, the Honorable Premier David Makura will deliver the State of the Province address. The opening of the legislature will take place at the Green Hill Stadium in Randfontein from 11 in the morning.
The proceedings will be live between 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. on DSTV channel 408, Gauteng community and commercial radio stations, or live stream on www.gpl.gov.za. Also follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
This is Kofifi FM 97.2. Kofifi FM, where it all began.
Overcome your biggest obstacles with Minister Aziz Garra on The Overcomers from 5 to 6 a.m. Wake up with Reggie Falanda and the breakfast team on the Kofifi Breakfast Show from 6 to 9 a.m. Be in the company of a fine gentleman who make up the Good Morning Kofifi Family Show weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Focus on your spiritual well-being with inspirational talk from 12 to 1 p.m. Get empowered on the Empowerment Hour from 1 to 2 p.m. Have a seat at the round table on Conversations with Rosemary every Tuesday and Thursday from 1 to 2 p.m. Join us as we engage the youth on the KYC from 2 to 3 p.m. The Jive Drive steps in as your personal companions from 3 to 6 p.m. Get your head in the game with Kofifi Sports from 6 to 7 p.m. Get out your comfort zone on the Paradigm Shift every Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. Recap the day's events with James, the Commander-in-Chief of the Airwaves, on the Daily Wrap-Up from 7 to 8 p.m. The Junction becomes your personal music show from 8 to 11 p.m.
This is the station where it all began. Kofifi FM 97.2.
You are tuned in to the most fanatic show.
It is Young Minds in Entrepreneurship.
I don't know what that dream is that you have. I don't care how disappointing it might have been as you've been working toward that dream. That dream that you're holding in your mind, that it's possible.
Most people are so engrossed in what you are doing that they don't notice how you are doing.
You've got to be better than a good worker. You've got to be a good asker. Asking is the beginning of receiving. Receiving is not the problem. Success is not in short supply.
It's a good thing for young people to enter into these spaces and these avenues so that we impact society and impact, our lives differently. Inspire the young people out there, to motivate them and tell them, do not be fearful. Corporations are not buildings. Come and join us every Thursday as we celebrate young minds in entrepreneurship between the hours of 2 and 3 o'clock on the KYC. Thursday is always called the pre-weekend. Kofifi FM 97.2. Her name is Lady Zamar. Love is blind. We don't know. For some, yes. For those who were blinded, Valentine's Day. Now it's over. But the month of love is still continuing. And this is the KYC Kofifi FM. Welcome back to it. We're talking young minds in entrepreneurship. And we want to inspire you as a young person, as a youth, to go out there, make something out of the idea that you have conceived in your mind. You don't know. It might change the world.
Yeah, it's true.
If Steve Jobs decided, you know what, out of everything that I've seen, because it was not his idea.
Sure.
But out of everything that he saw, he improved on it.
Yes.
If he decided, you know what, I'm just going to be a normal office worker.
Yes.
Maybe we could have never had Apple.
And some of the best ideas are, I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Microsoft but sometimes the business that takes off uses an idea that wasn't necessarily theirs in the first place.
Yes.
So your point of sometimes you take an idea that's maybe half finished, or you see some opportunity that the inventor didn't see.
Yes.
And you take that idea, but you take it to from stage 1 to stage 10, or level 10.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's those situations that actually become the businesses that you read about in the news.
True that.
Yeah.
With 19 minutes left for us to get out of here, we're talking about how then do you qualify your idea or your business to be in a position of getting funding?
Yep. So earlier we were talking about the different types of funders that exist in South Africa, and not only the type of funders, but the types of funding.
Yes.
And I really want to emphasize that the reason why that's important is because every single funder has specific criteria of the types of businesses and entrepreneurs that they fund. So that's why it's important to understand the ecosystem to say, okay, what's available for me? Because you need to very strategically identify the type of funding and the type of funder that applies to you. And one of the criteria is, what stage of business are you in? So I think that's kind of where we left off, because you actually have to do your homework as an entrepreneur. You can't just go out there and say, world, I need funding, and expect the world to throw money at you, right?
And we expect a lot of money. Right?
And not just a little bit, you expect a lot of money.
Yeah.
So there's actually so much research that the entrepreneur must do. And part of it is understanding what situation they're in, and what they call it the life stage. Well, what is the life stage of your business?
Okay.
So just to go over it briefly, but it goes all the way from ideation or seed stage, which means in year 1, I just have an idea and I'm kind of testing the idea. And then the next stage is probably year 2, where it's startup stage, where you're kind of launching your business. After that, they call it early stage, which means you're kind of establishing and finding your ground. Accelerate, which means you're growing. And then finally, maturity, where you're just trying to reach sustainability.
All right.
And maturity happens at around year 8, they say. So it takes a while from year 1 to reach year 8.
Time to build a business.
Absolutely. And within that time, you're making changes.
Yeah.
You're pivoting and changing direction depending on what the response is from the market. So I think one stereotype that's very important to get right is that if you look at the different types of funders and funding available in South Africa, not one of them, or very few of them, it's a minority of businesses or of funders will fund a business in ideation stage, which means that it's not common for just an idea to get funding. And I want to repeat that because it's a common misconception that we have, where entrepreneurs think that if I have an idea, how can I get money to back it up? And it doesn't quite work that way. Most funders will only step in and financially support businesses that are startup stage and beyond, which means that they're year 2, they've tested their idea, they can demonstrate that this product works. Because, we were talking about it earlier, but you just have to think of, even if if a company is investing in you, they're also they're taking a chance on you, right? So we can't just, they have to have proof, or they have to be confident that your business is a viable investment for them. And you must be able to demonstrate that.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
And here's another thing, if you believe in your idea as an individual, I think the first funding should come from you.
Absolutely. So funding from your pockets, and that means that and I think that's why they kind of test entrepreneurs to say, we're not going to fund an idea because you have to take some responsibility and some of the risk to put your own money behind it and test the idea. If it's an app, go find someone who can build the app for you so you can test to see if it works.
Yes.
Test to grow your customer base. We want to see that there's some traction or some movement with this thing. But maybe you need to go and put your savings into this, and that demonstrates that you're committed. You can ask friends and family, but there's other people that you can ask for money before you go and approach the big guys or the banks and the equity people and the venture capitalists. Yeah.
Kofifi FM 97.2, 14 minutes before the hour of 3 o'clock. We're going to go for a break. When we come back on the other side, taking your messages and concluding on the topic of financing.
thought you were gonna sing there.
I was going to say for a moment.
But you stopped. What happened?
I just wanted a cue, but I didn't get it. Simple Things. His name is Miguel alongside Chris Brown and Future. Beautiful, beautiful remix right there. Well, we only have 8 minutes before we get out of here. Welcome. If you've just joined us, you are late. Very late.
But
anyway,
we still welcome you.
we're still welcome.
Thank you for joining us for the last 8 minutes.
Shalane has a good heart. I am just ravaging all over here. But nonetheless, welcome to you, Kofifi Lander. We do appreciate, your company, spending it with us right here on Kofifi FM 97.2. We're talking young minds in entrepreneurship, and a particular topic being finance today. How do you get your business or your idea to be funded? We talked about the different stages of business being ideation.
Yeah. Ideation, and then the next stage would be startup, and then early stage, and then acceleration or growth, some people call it, and then the last one is maturity or sustainability.
All right. For the next minutes, we are going to focus on your messages that you have sent through in terms of your businesses. We'll do the birthday wishes a bit later, but let's just focus on...
Was it your birthday?
No, I mean, there's business wishes,
Oh.
birthday wishes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
through the SMS. So we'll do them a bit later before we get out of here. We will not cause an injustice to you, Kofifi Lander. Well, this one says, good afternoon, guys. I have a business, have been running for 3 years.
Okay.
I started funding it myself, but I need to up the business and I need some funding. At this stage, what would you require for me to do, and at what stage am I?
Yeah. Okay, so it's a good question. Congratulations for having a business for 3 years. I think that's admirable because the failure rate is around, I think most people fail after 2 years.
Yeah.
So if you've pushed beyond 2 years, I think you deserve a congratulations already. So it's not a cookie cutter system where when we say if you're in year 3, we automatically place you in early stage, which I think is what this thing that I'm looking at says, but it depends on, there's a lot of factors that go into determining what stage you are really, but it depends on your sector, depends on the number of employees that you have, but one of the things that we didn't get to, but we can talk about it now, is if you're in year 3 and if you're looking for funding, not only do you have to understand what type of funding you're looking for, which funders are applicable to you, but what are some of the reasons why you're looking for money? So is it because you want to buy infrastructure or move into an office? Is it because you actually are in like the construction or some kind of high capital intensive industry where you need equipment to continue on? Or do you just need to manage your cash flow and hire more people? So those are all some reasons of why you would need funding, and you kind of have to flesh that out a little bit. But once you get, and I was talking about this resource that I'm looking at that I mentioned from Andy, we'll actually post it on Facebook. So maybe Elias, if you could help us out with the Facebook details.
Yeah, we'll give the details before we get out of here.
Okay, cool. So I'll put the resource on there, and it's really good because it gives you a complete list of those 72 direct finance institutions that I mentioned. And it also has these nice pictures which show you which funders will fund businesses in which stages.
Yes.
So it's a really good starting point because you can go and say, okay, I think I'm in this stage. Here's the funders that I think are applicable to me. And that can be like a really good starting point for research to see which funders apply to you.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. And then we have another one here. Says, hi, my name is Melissa. Can I please have Shalane's contact details as I have a business idea that I would like to discuss with her and see which direction she can point me.
Cool. Okay, so my contact details, we'll also put them on the Facebook page, but I think the best way to get a hold of me is to send me an email.
All right.
Okay, so it's Shalane, SHALANE.
All right.
At laulimapartners.com. So it's LAULIMA partners, PARTNERS Okay, so we'll post that on the Facebook page as well in case it was too difficult to get a hold of.
And if that was too fast for you to even go and grab a pen, you will get it on our Facebook page.
Okay, cool.
As we post those notes as well that we've been dealing with today.
I need to learn how to say my name like they say on the phone sometimes. You know, Sugar, Harry, Apple. You know, some people do it like that.
Oh, yes, and I think it's more easier to understand.
Yeah. Especially because I don't have a South African accent. So.
Yeah. All right, here's another one. I think it's also requiring your numbers.
Okay.
It says, how can I get hold of your guests' numbers? All right, we will put them on Facebook right there.
Yeah.
And here's another one that I think is quite good. It says, hi guys, after all the years that I've been in business, never, and he writes it in capital letters, never have I got any funding, but my business has prospered. One thing that I've kept in mind is to know how to use each and every cent that I make in the business. So for everybody out there that is seeking funding, first know how to use your money and everything else will fall into place.
Absolutely. Thank you. Did they leave their name?
Nobody.
Okay.
It's just anonymous.
Okay. Thank you. And I think that's a really good point. I'm glad that someone brought that up because the number one, I think before you even go out and look for funding, you actually have to ask yourself, do you even need it? And that's why when we're reviewing these different reasons for looking for funding, sometimes people actually don't need the funding.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in idea stage. I honestly don't think you're ready for funding. You should practice a little bit with whatever money you've saved up, or like the person who sent the message through. If you're in the services business, for example, sell a little bit, save the money, reinvest it into your business, and you can grow it organically. Funding isn't always the answer to having a successful business. And I honestly think in most cases, it's not, because I know in South Africa, for example, majority of people have a business that's self-funded. I think it's very few who actually get funding. Yeah. Especially, I think those that do, that motivate for funding typically require high capital. So it's people who are in the manufacturing business or in the construction business, where, as you can imagine, if you don't have a manufacturing plant, you actually can't execute on your idea.
Yes.
But not everyone is in that situation. If you have a marketing business or a communications business, or a motivational speaking business, you don't require a lot of capital to get going. You can actually just go out and do it.
Do it.
Yeah,
That's it.
There
That's
you
it. Not that we're promoting anything, but just do it. Kofifi FM 97.2, thank you so much for spending the time and space with us. Next week, we'll be dealing on another pertinent issue of business. And I hope that you do enjoy. Go out there, make, the dreams come true, and never give up on yourself. This is the KYC Shalane. What do we say?
Nisaleni kahle.
Nisaleni kahle.